Americans have read it. What are the biggest scams in America? Insulin prices. I called the pharmacy about a generic today. One that's been around several years. $379 without insurance. The generic. I guess they just want us all to be gone. I can't believe how much the price increased. When I worked in a pharmacy 15 years ago, the most expensive vial was $80 to $90. I know a guy with type 1 who pays $500 a month as his prescription copay for insulin. He's 28 with a stable job but has to live with his parents because he wouldn't be able to afford food or gas with bills, rent and insulin. College textbooks. You need edition 10 for this class. They change one chapter in the book, make it a new edition, overprice it, and mess up with all the college kids. Always drove me nuts when I was in college. One of my professors said it doesn't matter what edition you got for my class, just make sure to get the book. The first class he saw, not a lot of students got the book, so he was again like, it doesn't matter what edition, just get it on Amazon or whatever, the older editions are cheaper, the used ones are cheaper, etc. Then he points at me, what edition did you get? Me, 4th, there is only 5 editions of that book. He was like, that's awesome. Where did you get it? Me, used books website. Him, how much did you pay? Me, $4.53. Him trying to sound positive but being quite sour at this point. That's great, what a great deal. I'm not sure $4 is a fair price for this book, but still, great find. Come to find out later he contributed to that college book, was one of the authors and editors. Health insurance. Indeed. My private practice doctor once told me his office would bill my insurance X amount of dollars, and the insurance would come back and say, X to Y dollars. And he wouldn't expect to receive payment Z 3 to 6 months out. What I hate most about it is my daughter's doctor prescribed her X medicine for her problem. The insurance company denied paying for the medicine because they don't think she needs X medicine. I think it is really stupid they can deny something a doctor says their patient needs based on their assessment of what they think she does or doesn't need. Online charlatans that will share their secrets if you buy their course. I work for a mortgage company. We just wrote a loan for a dude who was buying his first house. Modest home. His income was about $2,500 a month with 2.5 years history as self-employed income. His income? Selling courses on how to invest in real estate. Since we need to validate income in businesses, I checked out his website and he likely was a TikTok guy claiming to be this multimillionaire real estate investor, posing with Lamborghinis and so on. Guy literally was 100% faking it all, but had built up a business where we could validate about $2,500 a month of income, $30K a year. Good for him, I guess. He finally got his own place. Subscription services. Everything is a goddamn subscription service nowadays. Add cable TV/internet monopolies in there too. Seriously. The Spectrum person that signed me up on the phone gave me a price and simply neglected to tell me it was a promotional rate. Price goes up 50% after a year. Property tax. First you buy the house, then eventually it becomes yours. But oh, the land your home is on isn't yours and you have to pay that forever because everything needs to be built on land. Might as well charge sky tax too at this point. I disagree about property taxes. The only reason you even can own land is because the government enforces the laws that prevent someone else from taking/using it. They also, usually, provide other services like sewer, fire, subsidized water/electric, roads, etc. We aren't islands. We live in a community that requires maintenance and we all have to chip in. How the child support system works. The court calculates an amount for a child's best interest. You read about people paying thousands, like in the celebrity spectrum of $115,000 monthly. How putting on birthdays of $50,000 per year is calculated into that amount. And not only do celebrities get pinched, the working class does too. If you're lucky to afford an attorney to come up with a realistic amount. If not, you'll get screwed with the interest rate, bad credit reporting, check garnishments, losing your driver's license, and even going to jail. I scrolled really far and was surprised I didn't see rent-to-own stores. They sell furniture and electronics type stuff to people with bad credit who can't really afford it. Let them pay a small amount weekly. If people end up paying on time and pay stuff off, they will pay 2 or 3 times more than the item is worth. If they make a payment late, the item is repossessed and resold to someone else and the first person loses all the money they paid. There are used car dealers that do the same business model with cars too. They put GPS trackers in the car that also disable the starter. They collect $1,000 down, and once a payment is late they disable the car and go tow it, then sell it again and keep the down payment. I worked at a shop that installed the trackers, and these places would sell the same car to different people 5 or 6 times in a year because they kept repoing it. I used to be the sales manager at my local rent-a-center years ago. It's a huge scam and I feel dirty even having worked there. The worst thing I ever had to do was repossess a fridge from a single mother. She cried as she removed the items and kept saying, "I have nowhere to put these. They are going to go bad." Another one was when I had to repossess a bunk bed from 2 kids. They asked their dad where they were going to sleep. It's been years and I still think about it from time to time. Don't rent from rent-to-own stores. Don't give them business. Whatever multi-level marketing scheme my sister-in-law was peddling at Thanksgiving. A few years ago my husband was keen on the idea of buying a franchise. He came across a scheme he thought was promising and asked me to go with him to meet the people selling it. As soon as we sat down my gut feeling was run, but being polite people we sat through their spiel. On the surface it seemed legit, but for me the absolute killer was when they started spouting on about how the big boss has bought a helicopter and how cool it would be for us all when we can do that too. They were very pushy, but I'm equally stubborn and held firm that we needed to think about it. As soon as we left I threw away the brochures and crap they'd foisted on us. Had a few emails and calls, but ghosted them. Husband was disappointed for a while, but then one day I was reading Reddit and came across a familiar company name. To this day I enjoy reminding my husband how we dodged being tied in with Herbalife. Surprised no one mentioned Ticketmaster yet. The fees are just the beginning. They got sick of StubHub eating up that juicy secondary market, so now offer the handy ability to scalp tickets right on the site. You just buy them, usually double the price, and put them for sale as verified. All without actually leaving your chair. Funny thing is, they aren't doubling the good seats, because that just gets silly. So you have people buying the balcony blocks, which at one concert were $70, and jacking the price to $140. Meanwhile, for $240 there were seats 3 rows back from the stage. The separation of church and state and the use of religion in politics. This is one thing that drives me crazy as a Christian living in America. I'm a youth pastor, and I've been theologically trained to read the Bible and find its original meaning. Having Donald Trump flaunt a Bible while he walks around some streets doesn't make him a religious man or a respectable man. The dude has obviously lived a life rampant in sin with little to no regard for other people. I find it offensive when any president holds a Bible and tries to quote scripture. It's clear to me that they usually have no clue what they're talking about. I wish candidates wouldn't hijack my belief to try and secure the voters for my church. Drives me freaking crazy. I think student loan servicers. For example, Navient manages federally guaranteed debt for the US Gov and student loans, has the IRS as their personal collection agency. They constantly fuck up to the extent they get dragged in front of congressional hearings, and their CEO is paid $7.7 million annually. My friend told me about his loans, warning me about mine. He forgot to close his student loan account after he had paid it off. He was charged $5 monthly for years and had no idea. He owed a ton of money. All because he didn't actually close his student loan account. WTF. I'm confused at how that is legal. Shouldn't an account close automatically when the balance is paid off? Like my mortgage will work like that and my car loan did work like that. What did they even charge him for? Record keeping for nothing? Record keeping fee for the fees you should know? It's not remotely legal, and anyone who has this happen to them should report it to their state financial services agency and the Federal Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They all have complaint forms and would love to hear from you. Source: I am a consumer protection attorney at such an agency and can only act on what I find out about. College tuition being ridiculously high. I think we do great with community colleges. They accept everyone. Fairly cheap. But the 4-year schools are ridiculous. I actually found my community college to have nicer facilities, better professors and smaller class sizes. And it was like 7 or 8 times cheaper. This is why the true college hack is to go to community college for 2 years, get your GE classes taken care of, and then pick your major and transfer to a bachelor's degree granting institution. In addition to public universities that may not have accepted you straight out of high school, see a 2-year proven track record of success in college and will now accept you. Plus, by this time you may no longer be a dependent of your parents, which will likely increase your financial aid. Thinking about it. Came here looking for funerals. It shouldn't cost over $1,000 to put somebody in the ground. My aunt made payments for her daughter's funeral for 5 years. It's a box in a hole. It shouldn't cost 8K to put a body in a hole. Entry-level jobs that requires years of experience. Those payday loan businesses. It's predatory as shit and it's just legal loan sharking. When my husband and I had just gotten married, they told us that taking out those loans would help our credit. Turns out they're considered desperation loans and our credit tanked, even after we paid them off. Took forever to get them off of our backs about raising our credit and paying off debt at the same time, and now they still send us mail trying to get us to take out another loan. Ugh. I wish we'd had someone there to tell us what a bad idea it was. We trusted them, and now we still have 4 more years until those inquiries fall off of our credit reports. Insurance in general. Very true. Where I live, Jamaica, my family doesn't have any health insurance. My dad got a free high card since he's a retired senior citizen, but we get treated free to minimal cost at the public hospitals. My dad's colon burst in 2017. He had a major surgery. $0. My sister broke 2 of her fingers while playing in the backyard. She got an X-ray and bandaged up. $0. My mom gave birth to my younger brother and sister. Only paid to sign up the birth certificates. Both were $300 Jamaican dollars, so in total she paid $4 and 44 cents, $2 and 22 cents for each child. My brother went to the hospital after he got the COVID vaccine, unrelated to the vaccine. Got checked out 2 hours later, $0. My brother got burned by some water. He spent a couple of days going to the hospital. $0. An American on Reddit told me that when he broke his arm, he paid $2,700 to fix it, $200 for the X-ray, in Mississippi. I was so shocked that much. It's nowhere near as hot and perfect as Germany's or France's or Belgium's healthcare systems, but I'm very grateful for it, and the fact we didn't go broke for simple medical procedures in a developing country is very awesome. Sadly, the US isn't like this. Big business wielding huge political power. Sure, people go to the polls, but behind the scenes corporations pay exorbitant amounts of money to pay politicians to make policies favorable to them, and in the process ignoring the will of the people. A few weeks ago there was a huge row in the UK over Owen Paterson, a Tory MP who had received huge lumps of money by lobbying for a healthcare company, for which he eventually resigned. This happens every day in America and no one really seems to care. Paying your taxes and then never seeing a return on your investment. That's our money. Fix our roads, give us health care, educate our children properly, pay our teachers a living wage, raise up people below the poverty line so they can live with dignity. Stop wasting $750 billion a year on our military. That's what you get for being a superpower. The US military infrastructure is actively working towards maintaining a state of controlled escalation in many parts of the world, so that the US can play an active role if and when need arises. The military spending is not wastage. It ensures US hegemony by crushing chances any other country or group of countries has into escalation and collaboration. Continental USA is not in serious danger from external forces. US military activities around the globe actually create conflict, not resolve them. It is the privilege of US citizens that the actions of their military and politicians don't stain their conscience in the eyes of the world. For my brown third world country, crime committed by one of us is seen as a shameful thing on all of us. The way the pension system works. Seniors can work extremely hard in manufacturing companies, get a cut out of their pay, and never get paid back just because the company decided to move to a place with cheaper labor. It's horrible. Probably our credit score system. For instance, in what universe is paying off your debt a risk factor, such that your credit score drops significantly if you pay down what you owe? So I pay my bills, so that looks sketchy and I am penalized for it. Like I paid off an old credit card and my score dropped 130 points. And the cycle of renting in which you make just enough to scrape by so you can't get quite enough to get out of the cycle, then the rent increases yearly. So you're further into the cycle, and all the while your credit isn't improving to the point that you can escape and you don't make enough to put a lot away to buy a house. So it continues. That the stock market isn't manipulated, to some extent. Naked short selling by hedge funds and a particular market maker, and the absolute dereliction of duty by the SEC should be much higher up on this list. Can't forget about insider trading either. Pelosi's investment returns are better than some of the best investors in history. Also the whole GME Citadel fiasco. Very sketchy. Trickle-down economics. How it's supposed to work. Government give money to rich guy. Rich guy use money to make job, buy thing, etc. How it actually works, government give money to rich guy. Rich guy say thanks and keep money, taking it out of circulation. If you give a poor person $1,000, they'll spend it almost immediately, contributing to the economy. If you give a rich person $1,000, it will get added to their large offshore portfolio and sit for years to come. Maybe we should call it smoke rising economics. Add fuel to a fire that will provide much needed heat to the poor, and let what's left, ash and smoke, make its way up to the rich. The idea that you need to be productive all the time. It's okay to just exist. In balance, I agree. But people that are completely able to work and choose to live off the government, that's a problem for me. That system is designed to help those in need, and I'm happy to help them get on their feet. I needed it and got it until I got back on my feet. But I know people who are in their 20s and have a kid 25% of the week and don't pay their child support. They are on housing, food stamps, and don't claim a penny of their side hustle. If you do this, you are garbage. Outside of those types, definitely take time. Smell the roses. A corporation doesn't care about you and your extra work. You deserve to take time to exist and do things you enjoy, or do nothing at all. Not necessarily a scam because I don't think it's malicious, but I think some of the solutions to climate change and global sustainability are questionable. Recycle. But we shipped most of our recycling gets shipped off, and if there's not a buyer, it's just trashed. Only electric cars. But that power has to come from somewhere, and most of it's not wind or solar. Not to mention that the materials to make the batteries are finite resources and not necessarily ecologically sound at the end of their life. Not saying it's not worth the effort, just that there's not an answer that works across the board yet. If you work hard, you could be rich like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Even they admitted that they were at the right place, the right time. Love him or hate him, Malcolm Gladwell writes directly about this right place, right time aspect of Gates' life in his book Outliers. Gates happened to be good friends with a guy whose mom was involved in a startup computer science firm at the nearby University of Washington. It's the combination of this abnormal access for someone his age to a computer with programming software, contacts from her mom/parents, and Bill's borderline neurotic obsession with programming that made him what he is. Add in the market timing of such revolutionary technology and you have a surefire recipe for a billionaire. For those interested, it is a good quick read and a book I seem to mentally catch myself referencing about as much as any other. The two-party duopoly. Thinking the Republican or the Democrat leaders want the best for the average American. The entire fucking prison system pays significantly more money to provide less and worse services to people who generally need the housing, food, and other supports regardless of incarceration status. Oh, and let's make sure we do little to nothing to rehabilitate people and set them up with the skills they need before they leave so they learn more about surviving as a criminal than they do surviving on the right side of the law. And it's to line the pockets of the rich. Great. Just fucking great. Tipping instead of actually raising wages for waiters. Edit, I was referring to tipping as a necessary law. Yes, people tip, but should they be the ones to ultimately blame if you haven't been tipped and can't survive the week? No. It's the firms that you're working in. They should pay you enough to not have to depend on just tips to make a living. I'm astonished that this isn't at the very top. Tipping is easily the greatest and most successful scam ever devised. It's absolutely ludicrous that workers have to rely on the kindness of total strangers in order to make money instead of just being paid a living wage by their employers.